Peppa Pig is undoubtedly one of the most well-known children's cartoons worldwide. But did you know that even after over 20 years, 7 seasons, and 300 episodes, there are several hidden secrets involving some characters from the series of the Pink Piglet? One of the biggest secrets about Peppa Pig involves an official computer wallpaper from the show that was released a few years ago. In it, we can see a sort of photo with the whole pig family gathered. As far as we know, the pig family consists of 4 people: Mommy Pig, Daddy Pig, Peppa, and George. The detail is that in the image, there are 5 family members present, and not just 4. When we look at the window on the ground floor of the family's house, we can see a third pig child looking at the family members outside. To this day, this is something that the creators of Peppa still haven't explained very well and has been puzzling all fans and connoisseurs of the show in a disturbing way. After all, is she trapped? Are there 2 or 3 twin Peppas, like in the story of the 3 little pigs? This is still a secret that has not been revealed in this children's show, which sometimes has a dark tone, as in this case. Stick around till the end of this video and discover all the hidden secrets in Peppa Pig that we're going to show you now. Speaking of twin sisters, many people never noticed, but there are 2 characters who are twin sisters in the Peppa series. Everyone knows that Mrs. Rabbit is the resident of the cartoon town who has the most different jobs. Seriously, the character has over 90 different jobs cataloged so far. The problem is that many fans of the series get confused and believe that Mrs. Rabbit is Rebecca's mother, but that's not true, because in reality, the multitasking character is Peppa's friend's aunt, since she is the twin sister of Mummy Rabbit. This becomes clear in the episode Mummy Rabbit's Ball, where the 2 are seen together at the hospital as Mrs. Rabbit is working as a nurse while Mummy Rabbit is there to give birth to her twins. This leads us to another question. How many Rabbit sisters are there after all? We know that rabbits always have many offspring, as is the case with Mummy and Daddy Rabbit, who have 4 children: Rebecca, Richard, and the twins Rose and Rob. But in the family of the 2 Rabbit sisters, how many of them are there after all? We know that Mrs. Rabbit has various jobs and lives in England, but when the pig family goes to France, they encounter an exact copy of Mrs. Rabbit doing exactly the same thing as her possible English sister, working in various different roles, such as a souvenir seller and a helicopter pilot, as well as a professional rescuer. And despite saying that she is not Mrs. Rabbit, the French character says her name is Mademoiselle Lapin, which means exactly Mrs. Rabbit in French, besides being physically identical to the rabbit from Peppa's town. In addition to the French sister, it seems that the Rabbit sisters have 1 or more sisters also in the United States. When Peppa and her family go to Hollywood, after finding the golden ticket to participate in Super Potatoes movie, we sense that they land in New York, even going there in a plane piloted by Mrs. Rabbit. Always her. As soon as they land, they encounter a third Mrs. Rabbit, but this time American. Like all rabbits around the world who might actually be sisters, she is not only a taxi driver, but also an elevator operator and an ice cream seller. And along the way to Hollywood, they encounter more Mrs. Rabbits in some locations. This shows that either this family is really spread all over the world, for all adult rabbits have the same voice and many wear the same clothes. In other words, we already know what Rebecca will be like when she grows up. But even with several rabbit characters in the show, we know that the star is really Peppa. So today, we're gonna comment #pig down here, since that's the species of our main character. Since we're talking about families, we see that there are several in the Peppa Pig cartoon, and they all have one characteristic in common. They are always couples of the same species, as is the case with Daddy and Mommy Pig and Daddy and Mommy Rabbit, and all the others. But anyone who has watched the Pink Piglets cartoon knows that in the past, all the dads and moms studied together and thus met, grew up, and got married, which means that there are more than one of each species in the school, which does not currently happen in Peppa School, where we see one character of each species per age group. For this reason, in the episode In the Future, when the piglet and her friend Susie go to sleep at the little sheep's house and start thinking about the future, they say they will either marry Pedro Pony or Danny Dog. This makes it clear that probably in the future, the next couples will be between different species, as would be the case with Peppa and Pedro or Susie and Danny, unless new characters of the same species appear in the show, which has not happened in 20 years of the series. Another interesting fact about the Peppa Pig cartoon is that while all the children have their own names, we see that almost all the parents are called just Daddy and Mommy. But those are not their real names, as each of them surely has their own name. However, only a few characters in the series have their names revealed, and Daddy Pig is one of them. Do you know what his name is? This is definitely one of the best hidden secrets of the series, and we discovered it in the Valentine's Day cards episode. Early in the morning when the pig family is all gathered at the table, Mommy Pig reads the card that Peppa's dad made for her, and at the end, the card is signed with the character's real name. When Mommy reads it, at the end, she says, "Signed Snufflekins."
Hugs and kisses, Snufflekins.
Although it seems like just a nickname, that is indeed the patriarch's real name, which would make much more sense than him being called Daddy Pig, don't you think? After discovering the secret of Daddy Pig's real name, we have to say that few adults had their names revealed in the series. And one of them is exactly Aunt Dottie, who, in the Shining Wheels horse episode, sends a toy horse for Peppa and George to play with and have fun together. Probably the name Dottie is an abbreviation of Dorothy, and we can see a photo of Peppa's aunt and Grandpa Pig's library in the episode, where Mommy Pig gives a computer to her father, showing that the Pig family is bigger than we imagine. As we also see a little piglet in the photo, indicating that probably Peppa and George have an uncle on their mother's side that we haven't met yet, Madame Gazelle. In addition to Peppa's dad and Aunt Dottie, another character who has her name revealed is Madame Gazelle. Because, contrary to what many people think, that is definitely not her name, but just the nomenclature that everyone uses to refer to her. And, in the Madame Gazelle's farewell party episode, we managed to find out the real name of the children's teacher in the cartoon. When Daddy Pig calls the character's sisters, who are members of the Rock Gazelle band, we see that one of them refers to the character as Gigi, so we can deduce that this is the real name of the children's teacher. But then a question arises. Is Gigi Madame Gazelle's name, or would it be a nickname formed by the initials of the educator? Since Gigi could very well be G, where the second G would be for Gazelle, and the first would be for the initial of the real name of Peppa's teacher. This is a secret that one day we will surely find out for sure. And if you, like us, enjoy discovering secrets and details in cartoons and animated movies, click on the subscribe button so you can watch our next videos. Speaking of the biggest and best rock band in the cartoon, one of the secrets involves them exactly, because we know that the group members are also Gazelles, just like Gigi. And everything indicates that they are the teacher's sisters. In addition, it is possible to perceive that the band has a very solid career, considering the number of silver and gold records they have hanging on the wall of their room. Another thing we know about the two of them is their names. The drummer's name is Gretel, and the bassist's name is Greta, which reinforces the theory that Madame Gazelle's first name is not Gigi, but just an abbreviation, and she must have another name that starts with the letter G, just like her sisters. Rock Gazelles too. In addition, in the same episode, we see that the Rock Gazelles live in a place where there is a lot of snow. This shows that they probably do not live in the same city as the cartoon, since in the same episode there is no snow anywhere in Peppa City, which indicates that either the Gazelle sisters live in a very, very high place where it snows most of the year, or they live in another much colder country. Now, I have a question. Does it snow all year round in Transylvania, Dracula's land? In the episode where the Cake family goes to the children's teacher's house, we can notice many interesting things. Besides discovering that Madame Gazelle's house is literally sinking because it's so old, we can see that on the wall, near the fireplace, there's a photo of a gentleman. Since it's in black and white, we can deduce that it's a very old photo, and that must have been the children's teacher's husband in a distant past. As Madame Gazelle must be hundreds of years old, he must have died at some point in the past. Seeing this, I wondered, would that gentleman be a Gazelle version of Count Dracula? If so, it would make a lot of sense, since the character loves bats, the reminder of her homeland. Remember that in your pine tree there are several flying nocturnal beings around. Who knows if one of them wouldn't be Madame Gazelle's husband in disguise, right? Now, if you look at your screen, you'll see two incredible videos that we selected for you to watch right now if you want. I heard that the one on the left is really good. It's worth checking out.